Nightingales, motorcycle restorers and metal finishers. Right, back onto petrol tanks. Now I've done many videos including tutorials on videos, whether you buy your own gear for tanks or if you're bringing them in here. Now the thing is, I did stop taking tanks in from trade customers because it was the postage and damage when they got here. Also, we never knew if it was a genuine dent, if it did come in, and you opened up a lot of things. Plus, I went through many processes to try and save petrol tanks before the dreaded liner had been put in. Because as I say, I take more liners out and repair the tanks internally with the correct chemical than I do actually, you see me putting them in. So very rare I put one in. We do sell our own product, but we don't like to talk about tank liners because they're all horrendous. One I have is a 2-part one, and as you know in some of the videos, probably I've done loads of tests and I'm happy with it. I put it in anything, but preparation is the key thing. So today is a bit different, and why I'm showing this one on a bit of a short video is because this is your typical example, and a lot of people over the last few months, especially with modern fuels, are getting confused with certain internal problems in tanks, and I think if I show you this video it might give you some idea at home what I'm on about. So we'll take, this is a typical example of an immaculate original tank coming in, right, and it's got problems inside, and this is a nightmare for anyone, even yourself at home, because if it goes on to the next stage after cleaning, then an acid, and then probably a liner, hopefully never, but it could have gone on a seam where you've got no choice. This is the standard which you would dread in a professional workshop or even doing it at home. So I'll show you the next bit now. So I'm going to show you some pictures inside the tank, and then I'm going to go through what it actually is. So if we have a quick look now, and we'll do a close-up, and then you can see some different pictures on it, and we'll just get it into the actual area of concern. Right, dim it down, and hopefully you can be able to see some of this. So we'll do a few shots here. I don't know if you can see that close up. Right, we've got like a ready rust, and we've got the black, and then we move down. I'll just vision it in for you a little bit and get to the other side of the tank. That's better. Okay. Right. So completely different at the other side of the tank. You can see the substrate there with the tank, and it comes around, it's got the black and like the orangey colour effect. And I'll just zoom it to different areas there, look. Clear, clear. Right. So what I'm getting at really is, my first thought of that is we need to get this tank sealed professionally. When I say professionally, what you don't want to do if you're buying your chemical off an internet site or anywhere, it's all expensive and you don't want to waste it, but the last thing you'd ever want to do is this running out and getting on your paintwork. So as I say, this is your nightmare, immaculate paintwork. Now the amount of tanks I see that have just been painted, lacquered, they've had all the attention to detail on all the graphics. They're really high-end restorers we're getting here. And then you look in the tank and it's thick rust or whatever. So, or stale fuel. Don't get confused with rust or stale fuel. So yeah, so it's a nightmare. Really, it should not have been painted or even primed or rubbed down at this stage. It needed sorting out, because if it comes in usually like this, there's a good chance no one will touch it, including myself. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with this tank. We're going to leave it then, come back to it with a process I use myself on my own gear, and we'll have another look inside of it. So right, let's tell you what we're going to get up to. So we're going to get rid of one thing, which I said at first is, no matter where you get it from, that's a tank sealer. Because, you know, last resort. And we're going to come back to a product of our own, which I've used these two products for 35 years myself. But you could be buying this from any part of the country from somebody else. We sell it in a litre bottle because it's not these 500ml bottles, because what I find is not only have you got some if you're restoring at home or you've got many machines, but because it's a full concentrate, there's no reason, like your prep 1 in anything, we call it prep 1, prep 2 and prep 3, there's no reason why you can't reuse it a couple of times because it is a full concentrate. So what I'm saying with most tank cleaners is you're going to have a good alkaline cleaner base to work with, which is, in our case, it's the prep 1. So what I'm going to do in here, after assessing that, I think at this stage that is still fuel and the start of a little bit of light oxidisation. Again, this could have happened with the tank off the bike or the tank on the bike and stored, and we've got a bit of humidity in the garage, where I say in past videos it goes up in temperature and comes down. So don't be fooled by the big match. You can also get a full, like a shellac, like a varnish effect, and obviously you get your smell of stale fuel. And that also can be a prep 1, or in your case, if you're buying one from somewhere else, it could be the first stage of an alkaline cleaner, or something, a good degreaser. The thing is, with 100% concentrates and the amount you want, you're best putting it in and leaving it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put prep 1. Now at this stage, I'm not panicking, though I tell you in the tutorial videos to wrap these and how to wrap them, because protection of the tank. So this will still be cling filmed, it'll be taped round, which I'll do that in a bit, and then you'll see it in the last part of the video. So at this stage I'm going for prep 1, because the next one's an acid, and though the acids have got a rust inhibitors in, because when you apply anything then you rinse it with our prep 3, it's like a disc brake on a car. It starts to overnight, it can flash off with rust. We're never worried about a bit of flash rust. It's nothing, you know, nothing. But I think at this stage what people do, especially if it rattles round a bit, because the stale fuel then becomes brittle, it rattled round, so they think rust, and instantly they go for this kind of stuff, you know, a tank liner. And as I say, unless we've got seams which are opening up, signs of welting where it's split the seams, different tanks, and shadowing or blistering, then yeah, we have to go down this. But this kit, or any of the kits you buy, well, you need to do this first. Don't just buy one of these and throw some gravel in it, as I say, and rattle it round. It will fail, right? So at this stage, we're going to go for prep 1. I'm going to get the tank masked up. I'm going to get it sealed off at the bottom. And as I said before, sealing it off the plate in an old rubber tube, in a tube, and test it with a bit of water first, because the last thing you want to do if you put any of these cleaners in is you've laid your bike down like this, you come the next day, especially if you're on the prep 2 with an acid base, you've not only wasted your product, but you've also possibly damaged your tank, especially if it's just freshly painted as well with lacquer. You know, I see a lot of tanks filled where the lacquer's just come off straight away. Probably not fit for the job. But so when we look down this, we've got the little rash around the outside, we've got rust effect looking all over, and mild flash rust. So I'll get this masked up, we'll get some chemical into it and a bit of ventilation, and let's see how we get on. So what I've done is I've wrapped the tank with some cling film. Remember, this isn't a tutorial on tank, I'm just trying to do you a video to show you, hopefully if I'm right on this one, in preparation stills when you've got stale fuel to rust. Now I was convinced that this was stale fuel with a little bit of humidity rusting. So filled her up with Prep 1. If you were buying a tank clean, it'll probably be stage 1. As I say, you know, different suppliers sell different chemicals. So what I'm going to do now is, I also, when I do any tanks, when I said before, you know, if you're checking your seal across your tap or any flow pipes, I always put them on blocks as well, so if anything did leak, we haven't touched the surface of the tank. Again, this is an immaculate tank, so we can't afford anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off the plate at the bottom where the petrol tap was, put it into a tank to see what comes out of it, and as soon as I do that, I'll get it back onto here. I'll show you the little blanking plate I made, nothing exciting. It's an inner tube and a piece of plywood and some 10mm bolts through, and I checked it for leakage, as I said before, put any chemical in it. At this stage we're on a Prep 1. The only thing I will say, what I tend to do, if it's an older tank, what hasn't just been freshly painted, and hopefully you don't want a freshly painted tank, because the painter should have, you know, or yourself should have seen the inside of this before you spend hundreds of pounds on a painter. I usually give it just a quick spray WD-40 over it and then cling film it. In the event you haven't triple wrapped it or done anything, or watched on the tutorial YouTube video on petrol tank and fiberglass tanks as well, then if you did get anything and it went under, it's just a little bit of a surface wet film thickness barrier between the tank and the cling film. So right, so I'll get this off the bottom, get it into this tank, and let's see what we get out of it. So right, so I've taken off the plate I made up. It's again simple piece of inner tube, piece of ply and some bolts put in, and there was a one tube sticking out, so I put a bung in it. It's just draining out now without even looking in it yet, which I haven't done anything yet. If you look at the bottom, if you have a look in here, now that stinks as well. That stinks. It didn't before as much, but now that stinks of stale fuel. So what I've got to do is, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to remove now what I usually do at this stage is I just get some washing up liquid, neutral detergent. And I just go around everything, just in case any of the chemical, as I say, the first stage of the chemical is not such a, it's not an issue. But what happens is when you start getting into acids and specialist stuff, you know, it's it becomes more serious, especially on the paintwork. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put the phone camera into the tank now, just see if you can see down there. Right, so we're looking for here down, there we go, there. So that last little bit of flash on there will come off, but that's like brand spanking new substrate. So what we'll do next is we'll get the camera down and see if we can get a picture right the way through it. Okay, so hopefully you should be able to see this now. So right, so we're shiny. Let's go further down. Shiny, shiny, right again the tap hole there, right to the bottom corners. Let me just get that into that corner, look at that. Right into the seam corner, look. I'll do a few angles of that just so you can see that. Spotless, brand new metal. Right the way down. Other side. Put a bit of brightness on there for you. Don't know if you can see that. Right into the corners, look. Right onto the metal substrate, nothing. Right, so I was right with what I said. So in this case then, it saved a lot of things, a lot of time. Obviously we've got a tank not been damaged as new. We've got that back. The main thing we've saved in this thing is, you know, which a lot of people, I think a few years ago, they just went crazy in liners, you know, and they fail because it's always rushing. So at this stage then, no liner. Another stage then, prep 2, because we didn't go into any acids or anything special, because we diagnosed it as stale fuel and a bit of humidity. So even prep 3, which is a rinse, in this case, to save money, and if you're buying stuff from home or off another site or whatever, you could have just used neutral detergent, washing up liquid, to rinse that. What I tend to do with that is, once that's like that now, I just put a flash of WD in it, if you aren't using it. If that was going on the bike, and you're running your bike, like when you see stale fuel, it kind of overlaps like a mould, like as I said, a shallocky, varnishy look. Your next stop is either carburation or fuel injection systems. On a lot of the Triumphs, it starts to mangle in between, or anything that's got fuel senders and pipes in, all start to erode and do all kinds of tricks. Again, people come in with the wrong process. So this was to show you a newish old tank, but immaculate, original. And again, when we look down there, we'll just show you once again with that down the centre there. There you go, new pin lock, grey, original back to when it was new. Bit of flash rust maybe will come, but don't worry about it, it's nothing. Again, petrol tanks, half full, half empty. It's the old story with modern fuels, you know, we're draining them out now more than ever. I prefer to have a tank full, go for a ride and fill it back up again. I see bike tanks when they're on side stand, a nasty orange line across the side where it's been tilted. Again, one quick question and answers I do is, I get asked a lot, what's the best liner? Well, no liner's good, but if you've got the most common one, which I take out, is a single pack and it's silver. And you know this if it's failed, gone into carburation or fuel injection. You will know, because if you use acetone, good quality acetone, a commercial acetone, rather than nail varnish remover, it will peel it off and it will fall out about 80% of it by just activating it with acetone. If it was a failed 2-pack liner, and when we say failed, it's because these prep 1, 2 and 3, or any of these pre-tank cleaners, are needed before you put a liner in, and that's why the tutorial were there. You know, I've done them for many years. So yeah, if it was the 2-pack one what had failed, just as someone rushing, you would need something like, it's still available, methylene chloride, and I usually put 10% acid in it to activate it faster. Again, you need PPE, all the rest of it, ventilation. There's quite a bit of health and safety with it. You know, it's superseded triethylene, as I've said before, but all the rest of the tank liner removals are very domestic-y rather than a commercial environment. So that's it. The idea was, you've got your tank, stale fuel, you're getting on the summer now to ride them. Could be a race bike as well. It could be, you know, we use Prep 1 in fiberglass tanks for staleness, and you'll see on them videos. We have got All Brothers in Carnaby stocking our product. They're going to be the only people we're putting it out to. We visited them last Thursday night. Really impressed, what a setup. And what amount of bikes turned up, different, everything from British, Japanese, everything. A lot of stuff on display, shirts, and just spot on. Food was fantastic, so we're going to stock it there. It's no difference in price from me. I'm really in a commercial unit. and machinery is on holiday. I don't have a trade counter as such, only for parts coming in. But yeah, all brothers in Carnaby Industrial Estate in Bridlington, if you're in North Yorkshire area. On a Thursday night they do the late bike night, so it's great, especially if there's a bit of nice weather out there. So on this one, a tank saved. You haven't had to spend a lot of money. No matter what part of the country you're in, you can get some gear, internet, and do this. It was just a quick one, especially we're into such a lovely finish. So till the next time, thanks for watching. 01723 370 399, based in Scarborough, North Yorkshire. Thank you very much.